Does Meghan Markle have any business at all being anywhere close to the political realm and political elections of the United States? Hello everyone, welcome to Royal News Network. My name is Brittany. It is currently about 11:45 at night on election night, and I am filming this video hoping to get it out as soon as I can tomorrow. And I just gotta say, when I first saw the picture of Meghan Markle going, I voted! Oh my gosh, it irks me to such an extent. She has absolutely no business whatsoever as a foreign duchess telling anybody to vote, because we all know who she wants us to vote for. This is not a question. She wants us to vote, but vote in a particular way. And Archewell itself has also engaged in telling people, well, if you text this number, we'll help you find a place to vote. And I'm like, does a British prince, an organization run by a British prince, have any business at all in U.S. elections and telling American citizens where to vote? I thought we had a whole war about this to not have royals interfere in our business. Yeah, but Harry and Meghan, it doesn't care, because you know what? Meghan, she's passionate about politics and elections, and she feels like she has the right to say whatever the heck she wants, whenever she wants, because she has no decorum and no idea about how royalty works. She just really, really wants to be famous. So, Charles, I know you're trying to protect Harry. I know at the end of the day, you want to give your son a lifeline back home, but you need to strip the titles, and you need to strip them now. This has to stop. This must stop. She is bringing the whole monarchy into disrepute over her stunts, and it needs to end right the heck now. So that's what we will be talking about today. And obviously, as you can tell, I'm a little worked up about this, because I actually have ancestors in my family tree who have fought in the Revolutionary War, so we don't have to deal with crap like this anymore. And I'm not happy. I'm really not happy. My face is smiling, but my eyes hopefully show a smidge of irritation. So guys, if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, like I said, my name is Brittany, and on this channel we do talk about a lot of things related to royals, so I provide compelling commentary and news. In addition, I review television shows and movies. We will have a Crown Watch party, I believe at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That was the latest result that I saw from the poll. If you guys want to do a second one at a different time, or we can just wait till Saturday to talk, for those of you who will miss it, we can do that too, because I know a big chunk of my audience is from the United States, but I also have followers from like all over the world. So I know that doesn't work for everybody, but maybe that'll work for people in Australia. And I know it'll be like 1 a.m. or something in Britain, 1 or 2 a.m. So I know that won't work for you, but maybe it'll work for other people. So, because we usually do it in the morning on Saturday, we usually have a live stream in the morning on Saturday. I know some people from like Australia and Asia, that's in the middle of the night for them. So that will be super exciting. And I also have a trip to the UK planned, so I'll put a link in the description box down below. So if you want to go to the UK with me and have a grand old royal time, feel free to check that out and perhaps sign up as well. We still have some early pricing available, and then it'll go to regular pricing after that. So please, please, please consider it. I would love, love, love to have you there. It'll be over Memorial Day, right after the coronation. Oh, Meghan. She's clueless. She really, utterly is clueless about how royalty works, how the monarchy works, and how staying out of politics is a really, 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 really crucial part of that. I have no clue what the Queen's political opinions are, nor do I care, and nor do I think the people of the UK care what her political opinions are on things. I don't know what Princess Madeline and her family, I don't know if she's allowed to vote in the United States. She lives in Florida. I don't know if she voted in the gubernatorial race between Charlie Crist and Ron DeSantis. I don't know how her husband voted, nor do I care. But Meghan Markle thinks that her voice, not only does her voice matter, but she wants to use her voice to influence people. The problem is she's doing that with a royal title, a foreign title given to her by a foreign head of state. And it's the only reason she remains relevant on the international stage is because of who she married. I guarantee right now, I was thinking about this today, if she had dated and dumped Harry, I think she would have been kind of relegated to oblivion at this point. She'd be on like Dancing with the Stars and The Masked Singer. That would be her level now, because again, she didn't have the talent in the beginning to be a great actress, and I don't think things have changed for her. So I don't feel like she'd be getting Oscar caliber roles, because she was never there to begin with, and if she was going to get them before, she would have gotten them already. But no, she didn't. But now because she has a title, because she feels like she's very important. She feels it necessary to tell us to vote. However, here's the thing, guys. If you don't follow American politics, celebrities, they tell us all the time, go vote. But they want us to vote a particular way. And they get mad if you don't vote the way they want you to. So Meghan Markle, even though she's saying, I just voted, you should vote too, what she's really saying is, I voted Democrat progressive, you should too. If you're not, I'm going to be mad at you. Basically, that's all what they all do pretty much. So if you are not in the American bubble, and I get it, Americans are consumed with Americanism. I totally get that. So there are two big parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans are conservatives, the Democrats are liberals. Currently, right now, we have Democrats controlling the White House, the houses of Congress, so that's the House and the Senate. So these two houses, so the House has representatives based on population, so there's 200 some odd House of Representatives, and so you get a certain amount of representative based on the population of your state. So obviously, Texas and California have a huge portion of representatives, whereas Wyoming has one. And then in the Senate, you have 2 senators from each state. So you have, so that way it's even. So there's 100 senators in the Senate, and then 260 some odd, I think, in the House. So no, 400 overall seats. 200 or some odd to get full control of the House. I think it's like 218 or 19 you need to fully control the House. And then in the Senate, obviously you need 51. Currently, right now, it's split 50-50 in the Senate, technically. So Kamala Harris, who is a Democrat vice president, she can break the tie in the Senate. So right now, this is a very crucial election in the United States because most of the polls say people are generally unhappy or concerned about where the country is going. A lot of people think we're in a recession or entering a recession. So generally, midterms are a time when the houses change power. So you can't change the presidency, but usually after the first term, the president loses the House, the Senate, or both. This is across the board. There's only been a couple times in the last 100 years where that hasn't happened. And so generally, it's seen as a referendum on whoever is president at the time. So the last time that did not happen was actually George W. Bush. And so that was in 2002, right after the 9/11 attacks. So you can understand why perhaps President George W. Bush did not lose the House. However, this time things are rather different. So there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of belief that there will be a quote-unquote red wave. So this means that the Republicans will take the majority in the House. That's pretty much guaranteed by most of the polling, and will likely take the Senate, although that's still up for debate. I haven't heard the final numbers yet, so that's kind of a question. There's been at least a couple of Senate races called, but I believe those have all been, none of them, I believe, have flipped seats yet. So that's what people are looking at. Are they going to flip seats? And again, it gives that checks and balances between the executive branch and the legislative branch. All that to say is the American system works in a particular way, and this election happens to be, as most are, rather critical, especially if you're worried about the direction of the country. This is your chance to put a stopgap perhaps to Biden's agenda. If you're not a fan, same with Trump. People voted in the midterm elections to give the Democrats control back of the House, which limited the auspices of President Trump at the time. So again, Meghan Markle, where does she fit in this? She should fit in this nowhere. She, as a legal citizen in the United States, can vote, but she has absolutely no business whatsoever telling us that at all. The British monarchy, generally, the Queen has never voted in an election, and most of the senior members have never voted in an election. Why? Because it's just not considered appropriate. They're getting taxpayer-funded money, so ergo, they shouldn't really be voting. Now, granted, minor members, I believe they vote, but any senior royals do not generally vote. And we don't know where they reside on the political aisle. I'm sure that William has his favorite parties, Catherine has her favorite parties, the Queen did, Charles did, Camilla did, and Edward. I'm sure they all have politicians and policies that they favor. Generally, we don't know them. And generally, they don't have their emphasis on mental health and childhood development are generally considered things that are not political. It was actually a bit of a kerfuffle that Catherine's Center for Early Childhood actually met with government officials. That was a rather big deal in the UK because, again, royals and politics don't mix. Why is that? because politics is about mudslinging. Politicians, they throw mud at each other, they drag each other through the mud. The object is to basically try to destroy the reputation of your opponent. And in the United States, we only have two parties. That gets really, really aggressive and really, really nasty, perhaps more than other countries to an extent, because there's just only two. So if you have a Senate race, there's pretty much only two candidates. We do have some third and fourth parties like the Libertarian Party, the Green Party. Generally, they only poll at like 1%, if at all. So they're just never really in contention in the slightest. And so these two parties, it becomes a very big deal. Whoever has control of these houses, it's a massive, massive deal here in the United States. And this country was founded obviously on the basis of religious liberty and freedom, and we fought an entire war to get away from the royals, specifically King George III. Actually, hold on a second. I actually found this old book recently. I'll try to. So it's called The King Who Lost America. This is King George III, guys. You know, we fought a whole war. This is an older book, but we fought a whole war not to have to deal with him or any of the other royals that are represented here in my bookshelf. But you might be saying, well, Brittany, you love royals. And I'm like, yes, I do. In Europe. They're in Europe. That's where they belong. And I don't mind them visiting. I don't mind them sharing some things about their country, their culture, their heritage, getting invested in some of our technologies. Obviously, there's trade agreements. Royals represent soft diplomatic power. So when they come to the United States, it's about building relationships. If an American president goes to the UK, it's about building a relationship there. So these are important bonds to build. And I'm not slagging on royals in general, because obviously I have a whole channel and related to royalty, guys. I love it. But a self-proclaimed American Duchess who thinks she's the Duchess of Montecito has absolutely no business whatsoever telling me diddly squat about any election. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't care in the sense that I don't care about her opinion, and she has no business sharing it. Because she is whether or not whatever Meghan thinks about herself, that's not the point. She is a diplomat of the United Kingdom. She doesn't think that, but she is. Even if she's not a senior royal anymore, she has that title and she uses it liberally. She should just be relegated by the British monarchy to just using Meghan Markle as her name, and that's it. She shouldn't be Princess Harry. She should not be the Duchess of Sussex. Because when she uses that title, because royals represent soft power, she is representing the United Kingdom. And she does not seem to be able in her mind to differentiate between what is acceptable as a royal and what is acceptable as a celebrity. She has mixed the two so closely together. She's acting like a celebrity and calling herself a royal. And it's undignified, and it reflects badly on Charles and the rest of the family. It does. Because, again, she has no business talking to us about this. I don't care if she lives in the United States. I don't care if she did an absentee ballot in 2018 when she was in the UK. I don't care. I don't need to know about it. And her inserting herself in here, what I feel like constantly is that she is telling us that not only does her opinion matter, but we should pay attention to her. And she's basically promoting herself as if she is an American Duchess, in terms of she's a Duchess who represents America. It's like, well, A, you were really crappy at it because you made us look ignorant, arrogant, like a gold digger. All these things that she made us, she's a terrible representative of the United States. And now she's doing this again and telling us to vote. And her and Harry did basically campaign for Joe Biden in 2020. They had their little bench and they talked about voting, and they used very banal things, but it was a very left-leaning broadcast that they were doing. So they were basically schlepping for the Democratic Party. And so even when Meghan says something banal as just vote, we know what she wants us to do. She wants us to vote Democrat. If you vote Republican, she has no time of day for you at all. But as long as you're voting Democrat, you're okay in her book. So here is what the Archewell website said. It gave us a picture of Meghan, and this was retweeted by Omid Scobie, who was probably told, yeah, nobody saw this, so please promote this for us. It said, today is election day in the US. And oh, for the woman who just said on the podcast that she was very, very interested in grammar, she missed putting the dots between US. It's not us, Meghan, it's United United States. There should be periods in between. Just putting that out there, because you mentioned that you're a real grammar and vocabulary nerd. That's very simple. Time to get out the vote. Text Archewell to 26797 to find your polling location and make sure you are ready to vote. However, this is deeply problematic. A, because they're asking people to send them their information. So I'm sure they're data mining whoever is stupid enough to actually text it. Now, if you texted it to mess with it, that I totally get. But they're data mining people for their information during an election. And then you just have this idea that she's telling people, oh, we're going to help you find places to vote. We're going to help you. I'm like, really? There are easier ways to do that. And again, she is campaigning basically for the Democratic Party. Celebrities all over the country, they tell us, they make all these posts going, I voted, I voted, I voted. But we all know who they voted for the vast majority of people, and they all want us to vote for the same party. If you don't, they'll be really mad. And they'll complain and they'll tell you how terrible you are for not voting their way. And Meghan falls into the same camp. So it's just so damaging, I feel like, to the monarchy. And perhaps there's some ignorance here. Perhaps William, Charles don't quite understand what she's doing. I hope they do. I hope to goodness they do. But this kind of thing, Meghan, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I see right through you. You want us to vote, and you want us to vote a particular way. And she has not campaigned for individual candidates, but I betcha if somebody wasn't going, you really shouldn't, I betcha we'd be seeing her with Stacey Abrams, we'd be seeing her with Joe Biden, Kathy Hochul, all these sort of big Democratic names, and she would be campaigning for them. And the deep problem is that the British monarchy gave Meghan Markle a platform. They gave her a platform. This woman would have this little itty bitty platform if she was all by herself, because she was dedicated to being famous, but not actually developing a talent that would make people be invested in her. So she just wanted to be famous. That was her dream. So the British monarchy has helped her achieve this. She's basically seduced a guy and bagged him, and as Megyn Kelly said, she got herself the gorilla or the bear. So she got herself the big game, the big bachelor that everybody wanted. She's also been given this enormous voice that she didn't have before, and she's abusing it. The Queen graciously gave her the title the Duchess of Sussex, and she's abused it to her own ends. She's abused it to promote her own political party, her own ideals, her own agenda, her own narrative. And this has to end, because she's not going to stop. I think it's a combination of ignorance and arrogance, and she's not going to end it because she thinks she's right. She even told us, well, people say I'm difficult, or saying the B word is just, synonymous with difficult. Her whole podcast is centered around trying to correct her own narrative. It's one giant ego vindictive trip for her. And she's just going to continue doing this because she cannot stop. She can't stop. And so that means, Charles, you have to stop this for her. You have to stop this for Harry. You have to stop this for William. You have to shut this down. That means stripping Harry and Meghan other titles of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and telling Meghan she can only be known ever as Meghan Markle, and that's it. She cannot be known as Princess Harry. She cannot be known as the Duchess of Sussex. She can't be known by any other name but Meghan Markle, because she's not going to do this on her own. If Meghan Markle dropped all the royal BS and just was Meghan Markle, and she was deciding to campaign, she was deciding to do this and that, I'm like, okay, fine. But it's just that everything she does is under the banner of the Duchess of Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex. And it reflects badly on you, Charles. It reflects badly on William. It reflects badly on the UK, on the whole British institution. Again, we fought a whole war over this. How is it that we fought a war to get rid of royals as leading this country, and this self-proclaimed, basically, Duchess, the savior person, is inserting herself into our country's political narrative, all because she happened to sleep with a prince? Oh my gosh, it just irks me so much. And I wouldn't care if Meghan was campaigning for the Republican Party, I would feel the same way. She should have no foundation to do this whatsoever. If she was an actual private citizen, if she actually stood by her own values, she would not tell us how she voted. And I know she didn't specifically, but by just telling us she voted, she's telling us exactly who she voted for. Let's be honest. It's just one of those things where she just doesn't get it and doesn't care. This is all about fulfilling Meghan's desires. And they're even advertising Archewell through it. She's wearing an Archewell hat, for Pete's sake. She is promoting Archewell, which again is connected to her husband, who is a real British prince. Not her just having the title because of marriage. He's an actual British prince. So she's basically telling us that a British prince is promoting voting in the United States. Again, wrong on so many levels. So many levels. So Charles, again, I know you love your son, and you should continue to love your son. You continue to support Harry emotionally whenever you can. Try to build a relationship with him and his children. But you need to shut this Meghan thing down. It's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse because you incentivize her all the time. And I know you're going to get some pushback because people are going to say, oh, it's racist. But honestly, whatever you do, she'd cite it anyways. Anything that goes wrong for Meghan, it's racism. Meghan Markle has never done anything wrong. It's all the racist trolls who called her every name in the book. I mean, you can go through and listen to every episode of Archetypes. Golly, that's a terrible name. And it's basically one giant whine fest about what she was called in the media, or what she was called by staff members or people within the royal system, who all recognized her for who she really is. The British monarchy has a solution to that. It's to shut Meghan Markle down the best they can, to sever the ties between Harry and the rest of the royal family officially. Even though he's still a much loved member of the family, they need to sever the bonds, because Meghan Markle does not care about the future of Charles's reign or William's reign or George's reign, because it's all about fulfilling her own needs for self-importance. So I'm sorry, Meghan Markle. Yes, you're telling people you think you're doing something civically good, but you're not. You're not an American Duchess. You are a C-list actress who managed to bag a prince, and that's it. Please keep your nose out of American politics. On behalf of my ancestors, please go away. We don't need you. We're perfectly fine figuring this out on our own. We don't need the help of the Duchess of Sussex. So guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you think of Meghan's little insertion into American politics yet again. She cannot help herself. She really can't. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.